All right, so today we're diving into something pretty wild.
Yeah,
It's RFK Jr., Donald Trump, and a plan that seems like it wants to completely flip the script on health and the environment in America.
for sure. For
Or
sure.
work with some pasted text that lays it all out, and well, it's causing quite a stir.
You bet.
The basics are this. If Trump gets a second term,
Right.
they're planning to declare a national emergency on day one aimed at big pharma food corporations
Mm.
and all those environmental toxins we keep hearing so much about these days.
It's really something how this plan reads like a total system overhaul.
Yeah.
Not just tweaking things here and there.
Right.
It's almost like they're trying to shift the balance of power,
Yeah.
taking on industries that have been calling the shots for decades.
Exactly. And that's where things get really fascinating because RFK Jr. says he knows how to get rid of thousands of chemicals from the U.S.
Mhm.
He points to Europe as an example.
Mhm.
They've got those much stricter regulations than we do.
Right.
What have they been doing over there that we haven't?
Well, Europe's got some pretty groundbreaking policies like REACH.
Reach.
Yeah, it stands for Registration, Evaluation, Authorization, and Restriction of Chemicals.
Uh-huh.
Basically, companies have to provide tons of safety data before they can even sell chemicals in the EU.
Wow.
And they've been really proactive about banning certain substances that have been linked to health issues, like some pesticides that are still used all over the place in the U.S.
Oh, wow.
RFK Jr. might be thinking about adapting something similar for the U.S.
I see. But wouldn't something this huge face some serious pushback? I mean, big pharma and these big food corporations, they don't exactly have the best reputation when it comes to playing nice with regulations.
Oh, you're absolutely right. There's a long history of industries fighting tooth and nail against anything they see as a threat to their profits.
Yeah.
Just look at the tobacco industry. It took
Yeah.
decades of scientific evidence, public outcry, and legal battles just to get basic restrictions on cigarettes.
So you're thinking we could be in for a similar showdown here with these powerful groups digging in their heels, trying to keep things the way they are.
It's definitely a possibility. And then there's the whole national emergency declaration.
Right.
What exactly counts as a national emergency in this case?
Mm.
Usually it's reserved for things that are like immediate and serious threats like natural disasters or terrorism.
Right.
Using it for these long-term health and environmental problems could be seen as overstepping legally,
Mm-hmm.
could end up sparking years of court battles.
So even if you could magically make all the opposition disappear, the legal hurdles could be massive.
Yeah.
But let's say for a minute that this plan somehow manages to overcome all of that.
Okay.
What kind of good stuff could we realistically hope to see?
Well, cutting down on exposure to these harmful chemicals could potentially lead to fewer cases of certain cancers, hormonal problems, and developmental issues in kids. Take endocrine disruptors, for example.
Endocrine disruptors.
Yeah, they mess with our hormones and they're everywhere in everyday products.
Oh, wow.
If we could limit their use, it could have a major impact on public health.
That's a really good point. I hadn't thought about that before. If this plan drastically reduces pesticide use, what could that mean for agriculture and food prices?
That's a big question.
Yeah.
On the one hand, cutting back on pesticides could encourage more sustainable farming, which would be good for both the environment and our health.
Right.
But on the other hand, it could also mean higher costs for farmers, which could mean higher prices for us at the grocery store.
It sounds like there are so many different aspects to this plan,
Definitely.
potential benefits and risks that are all tangled up together.
Absolutely.
It's definitely not as simple as just banning all chemicals.
Oh.
There would be these ripple effects that would be felt across so many areas.
Exactly. And that's why trying to tackle these problems needs a lot of thought, careful research, and a balanced approach that takes everyone into account. Farmers, consumers, industries, everyone.
Right. So we've got this incredibly ambitious plan that could potentially change everything about how America approaches health and the environment.
Yeah.
But it also faces a mountain of challenges, from industry pushback to these complicated legal issues.
For sure.
It really makes you think.
It does.
Do you think RFK Jr. has thought about what all of this could mean for things like organic farming? I mean, if they restrict all these chemicals, could that lead to a boom for the organic industry?
That's a really interesting question. And to be honest, I haven't seen anything in the source material that directly addresses that, but it would definitely be something worth considering.
It really would. I mean, would people even be able to afford organic food if it became more widespread, or would the prices go down because of the increased demand?
Yeah, it's hard to say for sure. It would depend on a lot of factors, like how quickly farmers could transition to organic practices and if there's enough consumer demand to support it.
Right, right.
It's like you said before, there are so many potential consequences to something like this that it's hard to predict exactly how it would all play out.
It really is fascinating, though, to think about how much could potentially change.
Absolutely.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with me.
It was my pleasure.
This whole plan, it's definitely a lot to unpack.
It
It
is.
leaves us with a lot to think about,
It
for
does.
sure.